Our next two chapters that we're going to cover includes chapter 9, which covers the nervous system, and chapter 18, which is going to focus on mental health. And this corresponds with ICD-10. And what I want to do is give you a better understanding of the nervous system and how the brain works in general, and also relate some diseases which might be commonly seen in a patient's medical chart regarding mental health. Well, in chapter 9, we're going to learn that the fundamental building block of the nervous system is the neuron. Neuro is a combining form that means nerve. So if we combine neuro with the suffix logi, we get neurology, and neurology is going to be the study of nerves. Now, when we're going to study our chapter on the nervous system, we're going to find out that the nervous system is obviously very complex. It's going to be divided into multiple subdivisions, but typically we think of the most important subdivision of the nervous system being our central nervous system. That consists of the brain and the spinal cord. And the brain, of course, is our supercomputer, and the outermost covering of the brain is the cerebrum. The cerebrum is what makes us who we are. It's made up of neurons. Again, we said neuro meant nerve, but it's made up of millions upon millions of neurons, and these neurons are going to be what ultimately process the information that comes in through our ears, our eyes, our sense of taste, our sense of touch. All of these are going to be important because that information is collected in the cerebrum in various lobes, and ultimately that gives us perception. If we don't have something to reference, then it's something new, and we have to make a reference of what it is, this new stimulation, and how it's perceived in our cerebrum. So if we've never heard a jackhammer hitting a road plate, and our temporal lobe is now picking up this loud crashing noise that we've never heard of, until we actually see a technician holding the jackhammer and hitting it on a road plate, a steel grate on the road that they're repairing, then all of a sudden we make the connection between the noise that we picked up with our sense of hearing, and our temporal lobe now has something to perceive it as. A person standing with a big tool hitting it on a steel plate on the road. Okay. So our nervous system is going to be divided into the central nervous system, which is composed of the brain and spinal cord. And then there are going to be other divisions, the nerves that are outside of the central nervous system, called our peripheral nervous system. And that's how we interact with our inner world and our outer world. Okay, if I pick up a pen and write with it, okay, that's my peripheral nervous system interacting with an object from the outside world. On the other hand, my peripheral nerves are also going to tell me if I've got some sort of a pain inside my stomach, for example. Okay, so we see an interaction of our peripheral nervous system, and then that information gets relayed to our central nervous system, and then a course of action takes place. So the interaction between the peripheral nervous system and the central nervous system gives us the ability to take in information from our internal environment and our external environment, and then make decisions based on this information. Some other terms that we're going to see in our chapter on the nervous system: we may see the combining form psycho, which means mind. Okay, sometimes people will describe a psycho as a person who has some sort of a mental issue, but psycho as a combining form literally means mind. And so the study of the mind would be psychology. Now, we'll also see diseases that are associated with the nervous system. For example, Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's disease is named after James Parkinson, and it's a disease of muscular rigidity, tremors, and also a mask-like appearance of the face. Now, we would describe Parkinson's disease as an eponym. It's named after the scientist, the physician that discovered the disease, that first studied it, and ultimately it was named after. We would also say this is a non-decodable medical term. It can't be broken down. We have to have an understanding of what this eponym encompasses. Now, going hand in hand with the nervous system is going to be mental health issues, chapter 18. And we already said psycho means mind, and we're going to study diseases of the mind. If you see the suffix iatry, iatry means treatment. Okay? So a treatment of the mind. Okay? And many mental health disorders require a treatment of the mind, either through counseling or through a combination of counseling and medication. A disease like schizophrenia, okay, it's made up of multiple elements. Schizo means split or cleave. Phren, the suffix phren, P-H-R-E-N, means mind. And then the suffix ia means condition. So it's a disorder of perception, thought, emotion, and behavior. But to give us a very quick and rough definition, we could say it's a condition of a split mind. Again, even though knowing medical terminology doesn't give us the full definition of the disorder, like many terms, in this case, we get a good idea of this mental health disease, a disease of a split mind. So even though it's not necessarily split personality disorder, it nevertheless is a disease where the patient has a difficult time perceiving what's real and what is within their mind. So we're going to learn more about various mental health disorders in this chapter, but we also have to have an understanding of the nervous system itself, the neurons that make up the nervous system, so many millions upon millions of them in the central nervous system and throughout the rest of the body, the peripheral nervous system, and how there's a link between our mental health and the capacities of the brain. So we look forward to studying the nervous system and mental health disorders in this lecture.